Should the Detroit Lions make a trade for a safety? From the Cincinnati Bengals articles written about it, this guy potentially is having issues with the Bengals. Lions are mentioned as potentially one of those teams in an article. I want to talk about it, give you my opinion on this one. Also, 3-player cut candidates, veterans, that was placed by Bleacher Report as well as Fansided. I'm going to talk about these players and what I think about them potentially being a cut candidate. But before we get into today's video, if you think it's a smart and sound idea to play Russian roulette all the way through until every bullet has gone through every chamber until the game is over, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because we took all things Detroit Lions news and rumors. Sometimes being a Lions fan, you can feel like you've lost your head. Also, take that like button with you. Let that bad boy get shot. Let's get into today's Lions rumors. Bleacher Report and Fansided had 3 players of veteran cut candidates. One of those players is our Will Harris, safety / cornerback, whatever you really want to call him, defensive back. And the reasoning were many. Last year, we know what he did at safety. Wasn't that good? But then he transitioned, folks, to the corner position. He improved immensely, clearly better suited for that position. Safety, that's not going to be where he's going to be if he makes this team. But the reasoning behind it is the Lions have really good depth at the corner position. You look at Amani Oruwariye, Jeffrey Okudah, Mike Hughes, Jerry Jacobs, and Futu Melifonwu. Really good depth. And is Will Harris viable option to stay on the roster, or they could use one of these other guys who is cheaper, and the Lions could save about $1.5 million cutting Will Harris on this football team. I think he has a chance to make the roster, but no doubt he should be considered on the roster bubble due to the fact of the depth at the position and the cost that he is bringing. When you have other options that are cheaper, and Aaron Glenn has got it done with other players, and I can see he can get it done going forward again if he wanted to choose so in a different direction. Folks, let's get to 400 likes in this video. I have competition with Chat Sports, and other channels like the Chicago Bears channel has more likes this month, about 1,000 more compared to mine. That sucks. How can the Bears have more likes than me? So smash the like button. Let's get to 400 likes. Let's smoke out the Chicago Bears channel and let Graham know MicroMike is here for Chat Sports. Let's continue on for the player cut candidates. Another player was Michael Brockers, the defensive lineman, the man we traded for last year from the Rams. You look at Michael Brockers, his stats are not all that appealing there. 23 tackles and zeros across the board. That's not what we brought him here for, though, folks. He's not meant to be the Aaron Donald. He's not meant to be the guy making the biggest plays. What he is here for is veteran leadership to the Detroit Lions' young team, young defense, and specifically young defensive line with the players of Joshua Pascal, Aiden Hutchinson, Lee McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike. The Lions are young. That's why Brockers is here. And he's a damn good leader. By all accounts, he is a player a lot of other players respect. He has the power of wielding the hammer of Thor with his veteran leadership. But I agree that he potentially could be a cut candidate. First off, the Lions are trying to get young, and their defensive line is extremely talented. So maybe they want to go younger again and cut ties with Michael Brockers. Let him go to a team that maybe he can go to the playoff run. But there's still that idea of lack of leadership. And I am on that he stays on the Detroit Lions, 53/55 this year, because of what he brings to the leadership to the Detroit Lions. What he brings is skills that, with this young team, one of the youngest in the NFL, someone's got to be there to square these young guys away. And Michael Brockers is just that. And if you look at what they're trying to build here in Detroit regarding changing the culture, it all starts with leadership from top down. We're even talking from Sheila all the way down to Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, Deuce, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, all the coaches. All the concept is bring a culture by winning with leadership. And it's very important, just like Herman says, to have players that can lead, not just coaches. So to go ahead and cut Michael Brockers could potentially cut into something that they're trying to change here of the culture. In a minute, we're going to be talking about, should the Detroit Lions trade for safety Jessie Bates, safety from the Cincinnati Bengals? Let me know in the comment section why for yes and N for no. You're about to hear what I think. I'm going to give you my opinion. But folks, I am just a guy on YouTube. My opinion means nothing or is nothing more than your opinion. It's all the same. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Next player on my list is a cut candidate from Bleach Report as well as Fansided, is linebacker Jarrad Davis. We signed him as one of the later free agents in free agency to help beef up the linebacking core. As we know, the linebacking core for the Detroit Lions is not the brightest positional group, not the highest of talent positional group on this football team. So they wanted to add a little bit of depth there by getting Jarrad Davis. Last year, I'm not going to kill him on stats. Why? He was injured, folks, for the New York Jets. 18 solo tackles and was pretty much done once he got injured. So I am definitely a guy who talks about him, I guess, more of a negative light, if you want to say, but it's not a personal vendetta. It's, I think the Detroit Lions should get younger. I think they should get talent in the draft and find young talent to groom. And that is why Jarrad Davis potentially could get cut. If you look at the Lions' depth right now, you got Derek Barnes, you got our guy Malcolm Rodriguez, who a lot of people are high on. You got also Alex Anzalone in there, Chris Board. But there's a lot of talent around the NFL. What if the Detroit Lions would like to sign one of these talents when other teams cut down to 53? You go to T.A. Raw, Detroit is very high on undrafted linebacker that the Dallas Cowboys have. And he brings a storm, brings the pain, spears like Bill Goldberg. And with their big depth there, they could potentially cut players. Other teams could cut young players. And maybe the Lions want to get younger. Something that's different. And I think it's absolutely possible Jarrad Davis is a player the Lions could cut. I root for every Detroit Lion. I'm just a guy who wants to see the team go in the right direction regarding talent. So, you could also trade for a player. Now, this article came out as Jessie Bates. If you don't know who he is, he's a safety from the Cincinnati Bengals, a young safety, 25 years old, very talented. Last year's stats, he rocked 67 solo tackles, 1 interception, and 4 pass defense. Very talented. He's having issues over there trying to get a contract extension. He wants to get paid big O money. That's what he wants. And so the rumors are flying about trading this guy. And for whatever reason, Lions was listed as one of those teams. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you my opinion why I don't think we trade for him at all. So kind of just want to debunk this a little bit. First off, to trade for a Jessie Bates, you're going to have to give up a high draft pick. We're talking probably the Rams' first-round pick. That's not what Brad Holmes is willing to do. I do not believe so. First off, Brad Holmes is all about drafting your players. So giving up a pick such as that high for a safety, that goes against the concept. Secondly, we picked up Elliott from the Ravens this year. Be safety, yes, he's injury prone, but that's why we drafted Kirby Joseph. The playmaking safety to make big-time plays, 6 interceptions in college last year. He's a guy who should be groomed to be the safety of the future for the Lions. You have to trust your draft process. I have complained over the years that one of the reasons why the Detroit Lions has been a failed franchise or have not succeeded and lived up to high potential such as other franchises because the lack of draft and the lack of drafting players in the mid to late rounds. You have to do and build your team the correct way through the draft. That's what you do. And Brad Holmes has done that so far from what we've seen last year, and by all accounts had a good draft this year. You don't trade for players. You don't just sign every high free agent you possibly can find. You go ahead and you draft your players. You got to trust this process through and through. So if you were to trade for Jessie Bates, first off, there goes Elliott. What the hell did you sign him for? Secondly, the Kirby Joseph, you drafted him. It doesn't make sense, folks. It doesn't. And you're going to have to give this guy a monster contract. We got 2 players we're going to have to sign here soon. Looks like TJ Hawkinson's going to get it priority for the Detroit Lions, Amani Oruwariye. And then we got the next draft coming up. No, it does not make sense from a Lions perspective. Absolutely not. Now, I'm not a person who generally goes, there's a 0% chance of anything. But, folks, I'm going to be honest here. There's a 0% chance the Detroit Lions sign Jessie Bates. So, don't believe the hype on that one. In the upcoming videos, we got videos dropping every single day. And, of course, on Thursday, as you know, we got the OnePride podcast. We talk all things Detroit Lions news and rumors. This is the place to be. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. You got questions, Q&A, hit me up on the live show. We talk all about it. You guys run it. With that said, folks, see you later.